So starting the test drive in this SLK 350, the space in here is pretty good for the car. I will say for my height being 6'3", I have longer legs. I had to push the seat bottom down as far as it would go. And you can hear kind of as I move and adjust the seat, it's hitting the back there. But it's relatively comfortable for short distances for me. The lumbar support helps, especially how I'm having to sit. And the Vario roof still gives me an inch or two of headroom. So I mean, I can fit decently, but the space itself is not particularly wide, which is what you expect with a vehicle like this. It's still, I'd say, top tier for the segment because I'm not used to this in a Mazda Miata, you know, a Toyota MR2, things of that nature. And one thing I love about this car in particular is the exhaust note. Part of it's probably because I'm sitting so close to the exhaust system, or at least the tailpipes in the back. But it's just a nice aggressive sound for this to be a 3.5 V6. Now in sport mode here, it is pretty responsive. And then I can just put into the manual mode at any given time, which I enjoy. And it's just a relatively quick car. Again, to not have a typical AMG setup, just this V6 and the 7-speed. I mean, 302 horsepower for this car is still a big chunk, but just still wouldn't expect it to be this performance oriented. I'm gonna come a little slow around this corner, and I'm gonna put my foot to the floor. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's still really quick. You can just hold that plus paddle to get back into the auto mode if you decide to manually shift on the fly there. Let's test out this cruise control. So we have the Distronic Plus here. I have the gap back as far as it'll go. Just a little bit of wind noise, but road noise not terrible. Ride quality is very good. And it's just it's an impressive driving car. Actually, I think that road noise is coming from this trailer that's right next to me, so, or the wind noise, excuse me, that's just that plastic in the back. So really an impressive, very impressive ride quality and sound acoustics in here. And it's just a very enjoyable car to drive. What makes these so nice is you have power and performance when you want it, but when you're just cruising around with the top down, it's just a beautiful car to be in, to experience, and to have, definitely. So I mean, I think this is a very slept on vehicle. Now new, this might have been pretty expensive, but especially one like this that has low miles in this great of condition, and it obviously still has quite a bit of life left in it. I think $30,000 is a pretty inexpensive price to get something like this. Everything is still, again, in immaculate shape. It feels like a 70, 80 grand car, even though it's a smaller one. But if you just have one other person you like to ride around with, you like a grand touring car pretty much for yourself, and maybe you don't want something as big as a Corvette, you don't want something that's that performance oriented, but you still want something that's fun to drive and isn't necessarily on the lower end like a Miata or something like that, this is just a great way to go. But for the money, again, not a bad buy at all, I don't think. And one other thing is, even though the audio system is it's not dated for 2014, but maybe dated for 10 years down the road, you still get all of the audio performance that you would expect. You can, I think, get an upgraded interface, so something that'll charge your newer iPhones. You still have Bluetooth audio. There's just so much in here that's still relevant today, and you don't necessarily need to upgrade anything to make this a modern car. But still a pretty impressive vehicle 10 years later. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2014 Mercedes-Benz SLK 350 convertible.